Hi, everybody. We're back today with another episode of Howie's Hometown Heroes, where we feature business owners, entrepreneurs, and community members who are doing extraordinary things in their community. Today, we're in Petaluma, California. That's up in the northern end where the wine is. And fun fact, reminded Rhonda that it had to do with arm wrestling. What a crazy thing for a town to be known for. But that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
We're here today in Petaluma with Ronda Brittian of Ronda's Fine Foods. And we're going to talk a little bit about her and the fine food that she created. But let me tell you a little about Ronda. This is unbelievable. So she was a neurotrauma nurse. I barely know what those three words in a row mean, let alone what she does. But had a great career doing that, saving people's lives all over the place. And that kind of transitions into what she does now in fine foods. So she created a dip spread sauce. I gotta get it just right. Dip spread sauce, tomatoes, and lots of other ingredients. And it is fabulously terrific. I've heard. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to it soon. And she won an award. She just started this company less than a year ago, and now has won an award from the Specialty Food Association in the dip salsa category out of 1,000 entries. Can you imagine 1,000 entries? Hers was #1. Unbelievable. How somebody can. I don't know where the motivation and all this stuff comes from, and the experience to make something so great in such a short amount of time. We're going to find out all that kind of stuff too. So in any case, Rhonda, thanks for being here today. This is awesome. I'm really honored to talk to you.
Oh, Howard, thank you so much for inviting me. This is loads of fun and wow, what a wonderful intro.
Yeah.
I'm humbled by hearing all those kind words. So thank you so much.
You're it for sure.
No.
For sure. So tell us, before we get into this, the sauce stuff. So tell us a fun fact about something that would be like totally out of the blue. Nobody would expect.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how fun it is, but it is a fact about me is I'm really have a major interest in anything related to the human psyche. Maybe that is my nursing background, but so I just love studying patterns of behavior, the way humans interact with each other, what drives and motivates their choices in life. And so I spend a lot of time doing, when I'm not working or doing food, I'm reading and researching, a lot of personal growth and development and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm really passionate about that.
That's always fun. Yeah. And yeah, I know a lot of people also who are into that personal development stuff,
Definitely.
I'll call it, and it's always interesting to learn how people tick or what's going on.
Yeah, there's some great thought leaders out there and lots of great information.
Sure.
So yeah, so that's my other passion, I would say. So.
Very good. That's really awesome. So let's talk a little bit about nursing to tomatoes. How did they get from? I don't get it. So tell us
exactly.
How'd that come about?
How did that come about? Well, I've always had a passionate interest in food since my early 20s. And so I think the seed was planted. I know it was planted way back then. I've always wanted to do something in food, but didn't quite know how to take it from my kitchen to the grocery store shelf. In my early 20s, I grew up in a very food-centric, entertaining home. My mother was Mexican and my grandmother on that side, both my grandparents were fantastic cooks. On my dad's side, he was blonde hair, blue eye from the South, and his parents were also fantastic. We grew up with Sunday dinners and, fried chicken and homemade breads and things of that nature. So I'm used to associating delicious food and food gatherings for everything. We celebrated absolutely everything. My home was where we all congregated and met, cousins, aunts, uncles, and that nature. I got married in my early 20s and moved out to Northern California and didn't know how to cook. And I remember spending my first Thanksgiving thinking, I'm going to have to teach myself how to create those moments for my own family. I didn't have children at the time, but that was kind of what was the impetus to start taking cooking classes. I learned how to I took a class on how to create Thanksgiving. And from that, you can go, all sorts of different directions. So then I had children, again, was feeding them, I'm farm to table. I love anything that I can grow and make, in my kitchen. And fast forward to becoming a nurse, I was raising children, and it took me, 12 and a half years to earn my 3 degrees, because they were my priority. But always wanted, again, I'm always studying something. So I thought, well, I'll use this time to become a nurse. And I love helping other people and kind of being there during those really tough moments in somebody's life.
Mm.
And bringing food to the hospital was my way of connecting with other nurses. You have a really tough day, and you're eating. You're eating. No, I have a puppy who, of course, wants my time right now.
Bring him on the
So that's
show. Bring him
how
on the show.
no, he needs to go lay down. But that was my way of, during a hard day, bringing in food for other nurses and things like that. I went through a tough time in my life. I ended up getting a divorce right before I started working as a nurse, and I met my partner about 5 years ago, and I was cooking for him, and I knew he was in the food industry, but that didn't mean anything to me. I didn't know what that meant. So, at some point at the beginning, he said, "You know what? You've got great recipes. Have you thought about taking something to market?" And that's when I shared with him, that's my dream. I've always wanted to do that. And he just, he's an amazing man. And he said, "I think that we should launch something." And so that was really the impetus,
Mm.
um, on how that unfolded. I really think it was sort of divinely planned in my life. So yeah, that's the
Wow,
kind of
that's
quick and short story of it all.
well, no, that's a great story. I love the way your parents got together. I mean, totally different cultures, right? That you
Yes,
would
they met in
almost,
college.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that you would almost
Yeah.
never think would be connected. But I guess
Yeah.
so the college experience kind of brought them together, but then
Yeah. That's how they
it's,
met.
ooh, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really awesome. So, but did you move to Northern California for nursing or schooling, or how did you get?
No, so my husband at the time, had an opportunity. He was in the tech industry, had an
Oh, okay, okay,
opportunity to come out here, and so we
sure.
thought, well, we'll just come out. The intent was to come out for just 2 years because
Hmm.
both of us were rooted in Dallas. And of course, you start having children, and life
That's
changes, and
okay,
then you start
sure.
planting roots. And
Yeah.
so I didn't start nursing school till my daughter was 18 months old. So
Oh,
that's when
okay.
I started that. And then again, it took 12 years, because I was so fortunate to be a stay-at-home mom. And so I was having to take one class at a time. I'd have a baby, nurse a baby, do all of that and kind of squeeze in my education
Yeah,
around all of that. But on the side, my kids grew up in a home where food TV was kind of going in the background, and
yeah.
we were growing things, and then, creating stuff. And I was teaching them knife skills and how to wash produce and all of that from very young ages, very young.
That's great. I think that is
Yeah,
awesome the
it's
way you
awesome.
can express that. So you grew up in that, I don't call it food centric, but
Yeah,
an environment around food
definitely.
and entertaining
Mhm.
and family, and you
Yes,
just created that in your own house. And
I
that,
did, because
that's
we
great.
didn't have family out here. I didn't have cousins, and
Yeah.
my mother and my parents, when they were living, they're no longer living, unfortunately, but they would come and stay with us for, like, 3 months at a time.
Oh,
Starting in
wow.
October, they would stay through the new year, and we were cooking. We would watch something and say, "Okay, what are we going to cook today?" And so my kids, now that they're grown, they're all fantastic cooks, thankfully. They're almost grown, but, they love being in the kitchen, and I'm seeing them do that now, as they're
Just-
getting older, so I love it.
they don't have their own families yet. You say,
No, my daughter just graduated from college. She's
okay,
23, but
okay.
so but she lives alone in an apartment, and she'll do her little menu plans and then call and say, "Oh, I'm making a homemade chicken soup." It's really fun to see it,
That's
on
awesome.
this side.
That's
Yeah.
great that you can
Yeah.
do three generations, or
Yeah.
probably more if you go
Yeah.
back further,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Are doing that kind of thing. I think that is a great way
Yeah.
to live, and keeps a family together around.
It absolutely
Right
does. I think food definitely brings us
now,
together. Yeah.
when's your daughter gonna do Thanksgiving for the family at her place?
Oh gosh, yeah, I don't know about that, but even when they were little, we had a tradition where they were each responsible for one part of the Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And,
there you go.
one son was pie, one was, deviled eggs, and one was bread or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so I've tried to have every year that they're still making that recipe so they could perfect sort of. I didn't want to launch them out into the world without knowing how to make Thanksgiving.
I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Like I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Well,
been
that's
fun.
good. I mean, you were in a great, I mean, it's one thing to be a good parent, I guess,
Yeah.
as right as a parent, but
Yes.
now you're just a mentor in in a life skill that's going to serve them for the rest of their lives for sure, and probably well into their families
Yes,
as they move
I
forward.
am big on life skills in this house. We do a
Yeah.
lot of life skill building here for sure.
Well, that's great. I think that's great.
Yes.
So now, so I mean, you launched Rhonda's Fine Foods less than a year ago. Oh my God, you won
Yes.
this unbelievable award and
Yes.
stuff. What
Yeah.
kind of things have you learned in the last year
Oh
with Rhonda's
goodness, it
Fine
is
Foods?
so much. Well, I mean, the CPG industry was completely
CPG. So define that again. C. What was it?
consumer packaged goods industry
Oh,
was completely new. I don't know, I always just took for granted how groceries appeared on a store shelf, but there is a whole vast network behind the scenes. So I've had to learn everything really from the ground up, from ingredients and sourcing to labels and recipe development to distribution. All of the
well,
things that go into getting that product on the shelf. And Steve
yep.
has 35 years of experience in all aspects of the food industry. And
Okay.
so he's been an integral part of getting us to where we are right now for sure.
Well,
So he
that's
worked for
yeah.
larger
Yeah.
brands and smaller brands. And so his passion was always to take a product to market that was, that he was part of,
Mhm.
but he didn't have the product. So it really
Ah,
was a beautiful marriage of kind of both of our dreams at the same time. Um, and so there's been a lot of learning. We launched in July of 2021 with our original Romesco, and just to tell you a little bit about Romesco, it
yeah.
originated in northern Spain in the 15th century. And it's made, ours is made with the California almond, roasted red pepper, garlic, tomatoes,
Oh,
spices, and olive oil. It's an all natural, low carb, and gluten free product, and vegan and vegetarian as well. But the fishermen in Spain were trying to spice up their catch of the day. And so, just like in Mexico, where you have all sorts of familial recipes of salsas, in Spain, there are many, many recipes for romesco.
go to Mexico.
They typically put breadcrumbs in their sauce. I kept those out to keep the product gluten free,
Oh,
but still was trying to really honor the Spanish tradition. So we spent a lot of time with market research. I've been making romesco for about 20 years. Learned how to make it in a cooking class and sort of evolved the recipe to make it my own, which is what I do pretty much for any recipe.
yep.
I sort of tweak it to make it something personal to me. And when we were deciding on what to launch, when I do make everything as homemade as I can, as often as I can. So barbecue sauces, salsas, almond milks, everything of that nature. It was like, what are we going to bring to market that's new and unique, versatile, innovative?
Ah,
And when I made Romesco, Steve said, "Well, what is this?" And he said, "I don't know what it is, but it's delicious, and this is what I think we should launch with." So we went and did market research. I took
s-
my recipe and took it to a local store called the Spanish Table, where they do all imports of Spanish
mhm.
foods, and said, "What do you think of this?" And this is my Romesco. What do you think?
As
And
simple
she
as that. This is the market research. Here, try it.
Yeah, I mean, market research really it involves, talking to people who would be, your customers
Mhm.
and getting their
Yeah,
feedback. And then for me, especially honoring the Spanish tradition,
right.
I don't want to, I want to honor somebody's culture. I do have a little bit of Spanish blood in me way, way, way back. But I want to honor the culture that I'm representing. So we took it and she said, "This is delicious. If you put it in a jar, I'll sell it for you." And so before I even had the product produced. We had, their three
How about
stores committed to bringing us in,
wow.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then talked to other of my friends and people that I met that were from Spain and had them taste it,
Oh,
provide feedback. And we kind of kept tweaking until we got it, how we wanted to. So that's really the story of how, Romesco for us. I serve it as part of a charcuterie experience. It pairs with a variety of cheeses, olives, salamis. It's just
mm,
you've got a lot of sweeter elements in specialty cheese, jams, jellies, and honeys. Not
yep.
a lot of savory elements to go on those boards. So
Uh,
we have slipped into a niche spot in these specialty grocery stores. With having this savory, really versatile product, but we also are co-merchandised on the meat and seafood counters because over there, you've got some rubs and maybe some barbecue
yep.
sauces or cocktail sauces, but you don't have anything else to sort of easily you open a jar up and put a piece of grilled fish. And in, a very short amount of time, have a lovely dinner on the table. So
Sure.
those are the areas in the bigger grocery store, specialty natural grocery store chains where we're merchandised, not in the center store really
Oh, okay.
at all. Yeah.
Okay. So is it refrigerated? I'm just going to ask this.
It's not. It's shelf stable.
Stuff.
It's 18 months shelf stable.
Okay.
The jar doesn't usually last that long. It's so versatile that people are using it in a variety of ways, which is it's such an honor because one of the biggest feedback people say, "Oh, it's my new favorite condiment." So they may order it on Amazon or buy it at the grocery
Oh,
store. And then they'll reach out to me and they'll say, "Can I get a case of it?" Because it's easy to keep on hand.
yeah.
It lasts a long time, and then, people give it away as gifts. So we do
Oh,
a really
that's
big
really great.
business for gifts, specialty gifts shops, restaurants, cafes, delis, wineries are carrying us, bakeries are
Yeah.
making savory pastries. So we do food service buckets as well.
I
So
was going
that's
to,
a whole area. Yeah.
actually, do you have bulk
We do. I have a
5 gallon buckets or
it's
something?
a
Or how does
1
that?
gallon food service bucket, and that business is growing, rapidly because
Wow.
as we know during the pandemic, line time, for restaurants, it's really hard to get enough people to work, and to be able to produce a sauce. Romesco is a little bit labor intensive,
Oh, is it?
and so it takes just a little bit of time to make, and now that I'm providing, sort of this all natural ready-made product, we've got restaurants, cafes, delis, bakeries that are using us as the prepared food without having to,
Got it. Got it.
commit that line
S-
time.
So you're beyond making batches in your kitchen now. Do you
Yes, I didn't ever make it in my kitchen to sell. So we went right to a co-packer.
co-packer? That's what I think.
Yes, yeah, we
Yeah.
knew that we were wanting to launch into distribution right
Cool.
away. So we went to a
Cool.
co-packer.
So I was going to ask. So I was going to ask, is it in local stores in your area, or you said Amazon? So we can
So
just
yes,
hop on Amazon.
we originally, when we launched, we had a pallet made and rented a van and went and put the product. And from that moment, just as we drove home, we hit all the stores and we would just take a jar in and talk to the cheese buyers, the
Over here.
cheesemongers, the meat
Right.
managers, or the owner of a store and say, are you interested in something, new and unique, versatile, delicious? We're a
Yeah.
local company. And really, that's how we sometimes still sell it. And we had terrific response. People were interested, but then they tasted it, and then they were just like, "This is just delicious." So, we are once we hit kind of our local max distribution, we
Mhm.
were picked up by a local distributor. Pretty early on, which we were very grateful. We've had so many people that have warmly received us into the food community. So
Yep.
we were picked up locally for distribution for markets like Oliver's Market and the surrounding areas. And then we just not too long ago were picked up for a nationwide distribution for
Oh,
with Gourmet Foods International. So we're in about 43 states and 500
wow.
plus
Well,
retail locations right now. I know. So I'm humbled and grateful. I mean, it's really a dream come true for me, to watch things grow and to see where we're expanding is
very
really
good.
exciting news.
Can't wait to
Mhm.
can't wait to
Yeah.
see what comes next.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask, can I get it in my neighborhood? If I can get on
You
Amazon, I guess I could
can.
do that. But I will
If you look in on our
on your
website, we
website.
have our website, rondasfinefoods.com. We have a location finder, and there's a map. And so you can hone in on your
Okay, I'll do that.
area, and then it will let you know. Right now, we just went nationwide with World Market, and so we're not there, World Market stores. So it's a really exciting time to
Oh, very
watch the
good, very good. So
expansion.
I will
Yeah.
put we'll put a link in the comments below
Okay.
of your
Thank you.
website, and then
Yeah.
people can find a
Yep.
local store where they are.
Yeah, or they can
Um,
order directly from me
directly
as
from you
well.
anyway, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
so if they sign up for our newsletter and, on our website, if they order 4 more jars, it's free shipping,
Okay,
and I'm
I will
happy.
definitely do
I
that.
love customer relations and getting to know people, so I
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
lot of people
yeah.
that I'm sending product to, so
Yeah, that'd be good.
yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm pretty that I I didn't realize before now that
Yeah.
I could actually get it myself. I really had
Yes,
no idea.
I
So,
should have sent you your jars ahead of time. I
oh, that's
apologize
okay.
on that. We'll
Well,
send you some jars.
we're doing it later
Yes.
today. We're gonna get
Yes,
some.
we'll do that.
Okay. So, in any case, so that's great. So now
Yeah.
you've got, I'll call it traditional, regular, and spicy. How do you
We
distinguish
do. We have original and
original?
spicy. So once we launched original, everybody said, "Well, what else do you have?" And so launching the spicy was a really natural next
Yeah.
step for us. And so it finishes with a nice warm heat. It's nothing too
Oh,
overly spicy at all.
good. I
It's
was hoping
actually
that.
I love it. It when it blends with other flavors, it just gives the perfect amount of zing. But nothing too spicy. So we people love the spicy for sure.
One of one of my kids is very into very spicy foods,
Okay.
and I I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not, but
Yeah.
I find that for me anyway,
Uh-huh.
is a I think the heat for me, the heat sort of buries
It does.
overpowers the flavor of what the thing is.
Yeah. This
It's
won't do that,
yeah,
Howard.
okay,
This is not like
good.
that because I don't want to take away the delicious flavor profiles of everything else.
Yeah,
It should just blend.
okay.
I'm textural and, because we keep the almonds a little on the chunkier
Almonds.
side, but I think flavor should be built in different layers and
Mhm.
and and the textures, and then you combine it with other foods. It's a really delicious, I think,
Nice,
flavor
nice.
profile.
I
Mhm.
never heard of almonds in that kind of sauce, so I'm looking forward to that. And I like
Yeah.
the way you say or we say in my house, the depth of flavor that you
Yes,
get
the
from all
depth
different
of
elements.
flavor. And then being vegan and vegetarian, there
Oh,
are not very many sauces available that
yeah.
can really add a little bit of protein to. And so you've got the nut. And these days, there are a lot of dietary preferences and things that people
Mm.
are watching for. And so it's very likely you're going to entertain during the holidays and have a guest over that is watching whether they're gluten free. They
I
are
hear you.
watching if it's dairy free. They are watching, certain now if they have a nut allergy, that's different, but you can offer a charcuterie experience for everybody to enjoy. So they can take a cracker and still
Yeah.
dip it or vegetables, and it's really, it's just a delicious
Very cool. Very cool.
accompaniment.
Very cool.
Mhm.
So now you've got two products,
Yes.
less than a year old.
Yes.
Okay, where are we
Yeah.
going now? So
Yeah.
what's happening in the next 3, 5, 10, 100 years from now? Where are we going?
Yes. Well, I definitely want to expand our line. We are not just a Spanish, condiment company. We left it Rhonda's Fine Foods because, there are so many beautiful flavors of the world
Hmm.
and cultural foods that people don't have access to here in the United States that I want to explore. So expanding the line, I think, for our customers, you've got the novice or the experienced home cook. The novice may not have the skill set yet to create a labor intensive one sauce to complement a meal.
Hmm.
Or you may have an experienced cook who just doesn't have the time or the desire, but they still, all of them want to serve a really nice culinary experience for their guests or for themselves. And so, offering products that can enhance your table, is definitely my goal, and then expanding into our food service area.
Ah,
There's some really great possibilities for us with that, and then possible collaborations, that we are in the works with possibly unfolding if it's right for both parties. that's an exciting possibility as well.
Sure,
So,
sure. All kinds of good
and
stuff.
then cookbooks. I've always,
Oh,
wanted to write a cookbook. I've been working on cookbooks since my 20s.
yeah.
I put them in binders and they're all kind of laid out. But now that I see, with the lessons that I've learned, that I was really the only one holding myself back from achieving,
Mm,
my dreams and passions. So, writing that cookbook, especially, for my children to have, and to share those family recipes is really important to
sure,
me. So
sure,
that's on the list as well.
sure, sure, sure. So I think that is awesome the way you've kind of framed it in that way. I'm going to step back a bit. You talked about the nursing and the mental health issues that you are helping with, and how the company is supporting organizations like that, and the women
Yes,
entrepreneur organizations. I think that's a great thing to
exactly.
talk about.
Okay, for sure. So really, anxiety, depression, my family has personally been touched with, mental illness
Mm,
issues, and mental wellness, needs. And working as a neurotrauma nurse, I took care the population that we cared for suffered greatly from, multiple
mhm.
comorbidities. They may have, had a heart attack or a stroke or suffering with dementia, but then a lot of addiction and mental illness combined with that
No,
exasperates a condition. And
sure.
we just really do not have the services available that we should have for mental health support. I think it's great that people are talking more about
Yeah.
anxiety, depression, stress levels, PTSD, and all of these things. But we do need more support for everyone to have access to this level of care. Just because you don't see anxiety and depression
Mm,
as a wound on the body, those that impacts your sleep, and it impacts every aspect
sure.
of the functioning of your life. So we do support, part of forming a company is wanting to give back. And so we do support the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and we'll be donating a portion of proceeds towards those services to help, support programs
Yeah.
and education and things like that. So I am a big proponent, and especially it's touched my life personally to be able, I'm very fortunate to access healthcare for my family and family members. But I want to help in that way as well. And then mentoring. You and I talked about this
Yeah.
before. I think it's really important to help give back. I loved helping other people when I was a nurse. I helped mentor other student nurses and young nurses in the hospital, but I also helped my patients, mind, body, and spirit. I think that again, wellness
Yeah.
encompasses more than just a physical
Sure.
ailment. Everything about that. And so I want to give back and help. I can't believe that I'm already in a space to mentor other women entrepreneurs or minority entrepreneurs, but I feel like I have figured out that I was sort of holding my own self back, and so if I can help somebody else adjust their mindset to achieve their dreams, I don't care how old you are. It's possible. Here I am in my 50s. I'm 50. I just turned 52 and I'm starting a completely new career.
That's right.
And so, I just had a mentoring call yesterday, and then I'm part of two women entrepreneurial groups, my Founders Circle and Self Made, where, I'm helping where I can, and I receive help because I'm part of a community of women that if 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 they haven't had the problem, they've heard about the problem, they know how to fix the problem. Um, and so it's a community to build, or two communities where we can build each other up and learn, the best that we can.
I think
So
that right,
yeah,
exactly, exactly. I mean, that is great that your mission of the company isn't, oh, we're selling tomato stuff, to
yeah,
make money.
no,
No, not at all. And some of the relationships that first of all, you learned how to do all this stuff yourself from not much experience other than
yeah,
you made good stuff, right?
yes,
And now,
self-taught. Hmm.
yeah, but then now mentoring other women to do the same and to get them to move forward too. I mean, what a gift that is that
Yeah.
you can give to them. Mhm.
Well, I mean, food is a platform for me to be able
Yeah.
to help other people, and like we had talked about earlier, is that food brings people together. I
Yeah.
grew up where my memories are related to,
Right.
the good times, people coming together, the not so good times, somebody passes away and everybody's
There's
getting
always
together to
food.
enjoy and celebrate and talk
Yep.
about the foods that you
Hmm.
experienced growing up. And that's how I carry on for my children to say, oh, your grandmother made X, Y, or Z, and we're having that tonight. And it's a way to connect our heritage and history. And so I want, you know, talking to our customers and hearing their stories and their favorite flavors, or reminding them of their culture. I have my new friend. I'm not going to say his name, but he is from the Laguna Beach area, and he's into his 80s, and he's from Valencia, Spain. And
Wow.
his best friend reached out to me saying, he's having surgery, he can't get out, but he is eating your romesco on everything because it reminds him of home. And so
Wow.
now we've connected,
Yeah.
and I sent him a case, then he sent his friend a case. And so food unites us and brings us together. So I'm
Sure.
hoping to inspire other people to like cook more and,
There
not
you
be
go.
afraid of getting in the kitchen. So
There you go. So you're doing it already. I can tell.
yeah,
You've
thank
got the
you. Yeah.
inspiration moving along. So just for everybody out, I want you to click on the link below, buy a couple of cases, give it out for gifts, all that kind of good stuff. So um, just want to remind everybody for whether it's your family member, your business, your community organization, whatever it is, it's money that makes the gears turn and makes everybody, I want to say everybody happy. You need some, I was going to say salsa. You need
Yeah.
some sauce to make that all work
Yeah.
together. So make sure your money is working the most efficient way for you. So
Yeah.
thanks, Rhonda, for being here.
Thank you so much, Howard. I appreciate it.